What's up, it's cinemashogun here, and yesterday on Twitter, or X, I reported that a small plane crashed on the highway in Florida. I also mentioned that I noticed that we've had a lot of plane crashes lately, and we've had a lot of plane-related incidents happening lately. But for some reason, this triggered people. Noticing that we've had an uptick of plane crashes really triggered people online. And one thing that you will quickly learn when you're in a position like mine, reporting the news and reporting information for a living, you quickly learn that we are surrounded by a lot of stupid people. But not the same type of stupid people we used to deal with. We used to have like the Three Stooges, Dumb and Dumber type of stupid people. Now, in this day and age, stupid people get angry when you provide them with information they don't know about. When you notice something that these people haven't noticed, they get angry. When you provide them with information that they haven't been provided with before, they get angry. In the day and age where we have the entirety, the sum of human knowledge in the palm of our hands, in our cell phones, we have the entire collection of human knowledge right in our cell phones, right at our fingertips. But instead of reading, instead of researching, instead of looking things up, these people will get mad at you and lash out at you. Treat you as if you're an enemy, as if you're evil, as if you're a bad person, because you made them feel inferior mentally simply because you had some information that they don't. When I hear something new or some new information, I get excited. I want to learn. I don't automatically look at someone as an enemy or a bad person simply because they know something that I don't. But that's how people are set up these days. But anyways, I reported about this plane crash on the highway in Florida. It was a really crazy scene. You had people getting out of their cars, running up to a burning plane, hoping to pull people out. It was a really sad situation. But little did I know that something even crazier was happening on a plane halfway across the world. It turns out there was a man on a plane yesterday. I believe the flight was from Thailand to Germany. It was a German man. While aboard this plane, everything seemed normal. And then, all of a sudden, blood started shooting out of this guy's mouth, out of this guy's nose, ears, eyeballs. I'm talking about liters and liters of blood just shooting everywhere. A crazy scene. People on the plane say it was like a horror movie. One of the most horrifying things they ever saw. The plane was filled with people screaming at the top of their lungs as blood just shot out of this guy's mouth. And this is really alarming to me for multiple reasons. And we'll get to why in a moment. But first, let's find out what happened on this airplane. Passenger dies mid-flight after liters of blood erupted from his mouth and nose. A passenger on board a flight from Thailand to Germany died Thursday after his fellow travelers watched in horror as blood gushed out of his mouth and nose. The unidentified 63-year-old German man was seen boarding the Airbus A380 in Bangkok shortly before midnight. He looked as if he was kind of sick, maybe having cold sweats, and he was breathing a little too quickly. At first, his wife claimed they had to rush to catch the flight, which is why he wasn't feeling well. But after watching the man for a few moments, a nursing specialist aboard the flight said that she informed a flight attendant that he needed to be examined by a doctor. A young Polish man answered the call, but he reportedly only asked the man how he was feeling, felt his pulse, and said that he was okay. They gave him a little chamomile tea, but he started spitting blood into the bag that his wife was holding for him. Soon, blood started spurting and spilling out of his mouth and nose. It was absolute horror. Everyone was screaming, said one passenger. He claimed that the man lost liters of blood, some of which was splattering and splurting against the walls of the plane. For about half an hour, flight attendants tried to perform CPR. Even as the nurse said she knew it was hopeless. When he finally went still and the captain announced the man's death, it was dead quiet on board, she said. Staff then carried the man's body into the galley of the plane as it turned and headed back to Thailand. Although immediate and comprehensive first aid measures were taken by the crew and a doctor on board, the passenger sadly died during the flight. Our thoughts are with the relatives of the deceased passenger. We also regret the inconvenience caused to the passengers of this flight. Now that sounds like a very scary situation, but here is the most concerning part for me. For one, the plane landed. Everyone got off board the plane. Everyone had to go through customs again. They had to get checked again. And they had to hop on board a new flight. But do you not see the issue there? Here we have a man shooting blood out of his face all over the airplane. It's all over the walls of the airplane. It looks like a horror movie. Don't you think that maybe they should have, I don't know, done some medical exams on the people in that plane? I'm not saying the people should have been quarantined, but I think there should be some steps taken between this situation happening and them hopping on another plane to go to wherever they're going throughout the world. What diseases, what illnesses, what sicknesses could have been spread as this guy was just spewing liquids all over the place, right? What could have been spread? And if this guy had some type of weird illness, now there's a possibility that a lot of the people on the plane have that same illness, and now they're dispersing throughout the world, going to various different countries. I feel like if something like this happens, as inconvenient as it is, you don't just let people get off this airplane and go into the airport, interact with other people, and then hop on an airplane and go Lord knows where. Because we don't know what caused this guy to randomly start shooting blood everywhere out of his face. Now, I'm no medical expert. I'm sure there will be plenty of YouTube doctors down in the comments below with an explanation as to why this happened. We'll have probably at least 20 or 30 different different opinions. We'll have people diagnosing this guy down in the comments left and right. But here's what concerns me. Because this sounds like it was possibly the Marburg virus. Do any of you know what the Marburg virus is? It's kind of like Ebola. And unbeknownst to a lot of people, there's actually been a Marburg outbreak in the world recently. And even though they haven't been talking about it on the mainstream media, they haven't been openly talking about this yet, there's been a lot going on behind the scenes when it comes to this Marburg virus. Now, like I said, I'm no medical expert. For all I know, maybe something ruptured in this guy's throat or his face or something. I don't know. But when you look at cases like this with people randomly like just bleeding and stuff like that, it kind of sounds like Ebola or the Marburg virus. And I know for a fact that there's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with this virus. And it's weird because we're in 2024. The mainstream media likes to scare us about every illness out there. They treated the common cold like it was the freaking plague. Like it was the freaking plague. People have been running around like chickens with their heads cut off with the mask on, going crazy over nothing for years. But then when we got something serious, a virus with almost a 90% death rate that literally causes people to shoot blood out of their face. We're not going to talk about that on the news, right? Now, the last little ordeal, the lockdowns and stuff we dealt with, that was all BS. We all know it. The Marburg virus ain't nothing to play with, though, folks. And that's what we have to worry about. Because part of me feels like they introduced the beer bug a few years ago to take our guard downs. We're all like, man, that was nothing. You guys try to con us into getting this. You guys want us to lock down. You wanted to take our rights away, blah, 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 blah. Yet, when something serious strikes us, maybe we'll still have our guards down and not take something serious when we should. But I want to read to you all what's been going on over like the last year or so. And they've done a good job kind of keeping this on the low. But back in April, the CDC asked doctors to look out for potential cases of a deadly Ebola-like disease. The CDC sent an alert to U.S. clinicians and public health departments about Marburg virus because of outbreaks in Guinea and Tanzania. Doctors in the U.S. should be on the lookout for cases of Marburg virus, a rare but deadly infection, the Center of Disease Control and Prevention said in an alert on Thursday. This is Thursday back in April, though. Marburg belongs to the same family as Ebola. Both diseases are viral, hemorrhaging fevers, conditions that can cause internal bleeding and damage multiple organ systems. The CDC's new health advisory sent to clinicians and public health departments came in response to recent Marburg outbreaks in Guinea and Tanzania. Neither country had reported cases prior to this year. Tanzania's health ministry announced on March 21st that a cluster of Marburg cases was confirmed in the northwest Kagera region. As of Wednesday, the country had identified 8 cases in connections to that outbreak, 5 of which were fatal. All the cases appear to be linked. Guinea, meanwhile, confirmed 14 Marburg cases between February 7th and April 5th, according to the CDC. 10 of those were fatal. Past outbreaks of Marburg and Ebola have had death rates ranging from 25 to 90%, depending on the virus strain and the strength of efforts to control transmission. The disease's average death rate is around 50%, according to the World Health Organization. So, this has been happening for months. Our government, our media over here in America, they like to whip us up in an uproar about the smallest little things. Someone sneezes, oh Lord. Oh, it must be a new strain. Someone sneezed. We need to bring back the mask mandates. We need to bring back social distancing. But here, we have this deadly virus. They say it's a 50% kill rate. I mean, if you look at the numbers they provided, it looks like it's more than 50% to me. The CDC, the World Health Organization, they know about all of this stuff. They're talking about it, but they're not making a big deal about it. If you ask me, this is something that we should be more worried about than all of the stuff that we dealt with over the past few years. But, of course, when it's something real, when it's a real threat, they're going to downplay it. They're going to pretend as if it's not going on until they figure out a way to benefit from it. Until they figure out what angle they're going to approach this situation from. Now, I think we all suspect that there's going to be something happening leading up to the election. We all suspect that this year they're going to implement something stupid, something crazy, regardless if it's a new war, a new illness. It's going to be something. We're all anticipating, we're all waiting for that day to come. Could this be the beginning? Could this be the beginning? A man literally shooting blood out of his face on an airplane. Because, you know, these outbreaks, these stories, these situations, they all have to start somewhere. Could this be the beginning? And what's a bigger, crazier way to pop things off than to have a guy on an airplane shooting liquids out of his face all over the freaking wall, all over people, and then sending those people on their merry way across the world to go wherever, right? After having all of this guy's fluids and liquids shot all over them. It's on their clothes, it's on their seats, it's all in the air, it's everywhere, right? But I wouldn't be sitting down here right now talking about this story at all if there wasn't more to the story. And ladies and gentlemen, the rabbit hole runs deeper than this, but we're going to talk about that in the next video, or maybe the video after that, but it will be sometime soon. So make sure you ring the notification bell, put those notifications on so you can be notified of when I upload my next video. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. If you would like to donate to the channel, if you would like to donate and help me out with my efforts looking into things, then you can do so via CashApp. I'll have my CashApp in the pinned comment. You could also donate via Super Thanks, or you could help the channel in many other ways by sharing the video, liking the video, subscribing, all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all really soon in the next one.